if you could resurrect like three people from history for Cameron Bright's personal board of advisors, how would you use and who would they be?
Like Saddam, Osama.
You
No,
too.
no,
You too.
no. I don't know, man. I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's who knows? It's funny. I don't. I think actually, I think one of the people that is fascinating to me now when I look back is Churchill. I mean, I
Yeah.
think that he was just kind of again. It was like you like it's interesting because it all comes based out of the time. I feel like, right? Like it's kind of like uh what is it? Iron sharpens iron kind of thing, right? Where it's
Yeah.
like the idea behind the times that we're living in and the people that come out of those times, like you look at us right now and what we've got fucking Greta Thunberg, like I don't give a shit, you know what I mean? But like then you have World War II, and there were these amazing people that came out of that time because they had to be that way, the Churchills of the world. Like if and looking into his life and what he went through, as far as his failures and everything, and he just didn't quit. But that was what was needed at that point in time. If certain people like him weren't around, I mean, hell, the Hitlers of the world, we wouldn't have had these crazy, periods in time where again, then these amazing heroes and whatever come out of. So I don't know. I think that Jesus, sorry, dog hair everywhere. Um, I think Churchill is like one that I can think of that I'm sure he'd be a pretty interesting guy to have a whiskey and
What would you
a
ask
cigar
Winston
with.
Churchill?
Oh, who knows? I think it's just that is my way my brain works is I wouldn't even know until I was sitting there.
Yeah.
but,
I
but
always got cigars here after a podcast
yeah.
to celebrate this educated
Yeah.
cigars. If they have one in person.
But
What's your
yeah,
take? What's your
so
take on
yeah.
Greta Thunberg, by the way?
What is she up to? I'm like, how does this chick get around so much? Isn't she in jail right now in Israel or something like that? I can't remember. Um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, for me, I think again, she's a product of the times that we live in. Like
Do you think
40
she's a
years
real
ago.
person?
I mean, I would say that she is very much like a wolf in sheep's clothing kind of thing. Like it's crazy to me that I don't even know how old she is. She's probably like 17, 18 or something like that now. But regardless, it's like having someone like that, I think it's kind of the same with Elon Musk right now, where it's interesting to me how many people follow these people basically and like listen to every word that comes out of their mouth like they're completely infallible, and it's like that's completely false. It's like we all know that Greta Thunberg's probably got some of the best funding in the world, like, and it's all, the George Soroses of the world that are giving her money. And to say that she isn't, you know, there's huge power in just that. She can go around and she can bring crowds and she can, kind of incite chaos whenever she wants, under the guise of, well, protecting the planet or whatever, and it's just it's crazy to me because it's like it's like having someone like Leonardo DiCaprio be the national or whatever the UN ambassador for climate change, and then you go to his social media and he's sitting on 250-foot yachts by himself. Like, and it's like, yeah, we really need to listen to this guy about how we're fucking the world up, like, it's just like, so, it's crazy to me because that's how I view Elon. They see him as a humanitarian, basically philanthropist, yet his literal wealth is being made off like the backs of every African in Africa right now. And the amount of damage that every single one of his fucking lithium batteries does to the earth way outweighs anything else that any other country is doing. It's like here in Canada, we have like 30 somewhat. Well, I think we're up closer to 40 million now here in Canada. We're the second largest country land base next to Russia, I believe it is. And we basically have one of the highest carbon tax rates in the world. And it's like, why? Like one city in India puts out way more carbon than our whole country will ever amount to, So it's crazy to me to see how kind of, I mean, I guess how tricked we are right now. And it's by the people like Greta Thunberg and, Elon Musk and so on. So
It's
yeah,
just
I don't
characters
know,
also. It's like we spoke earlier about, like, I want to put uh, the impact social media has on us, where we follow characters, and where the
Mhm.
television, one of the things I was thinking about is television has collapsed, and we still have a need for the entertainment factor, and it seems
Yep.
now it has
Well, it's
swept
like the
into the
news, right?
news.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like the
because
news.
I'm like, and
It's
I would love
always
to have your take on it, because like Greta Thunberg, she seemed to also be a product of her parents, where they kind of like helped her to become this kind of archetypical
Mhm.
character almost. And we spoke about the Liver King
Yeah.
earlier on, and I kind of helped to see a resemblance between these. One of the
Yeah,
things I
it's
love about you is that you're just a real person. And I
sure.
sometimes I just you're like, but one of the things I
Sure.
find so scary about them is, like, I'm in Berlin right now, and Berlin has
Yeah.
like, I'm 5 minutes away where Hitler spoke. Like,
Yeah.
it's like literally
Yeah.
that I can see the pictures, and he had this. He was also a character, and people
Yeah,
like
exactly.
encourage him to keep that and then follow him. And I just feel
Well,
like,
yeah, and again, he was very much a product of his time, right? Like he was that perfect, was in World War One, then became the angry, again, like yeah, it's what was it? The whatever that it was the Versailles Treaty, I think it was, right?
yeah,
That did
yeah,
all that. But yeah, so again, it's like these people are born out of the times that they're in, and that's, again, Greta Thunberg just, it's I mean, rest in peace, but it's like the Charlie Kirks and stuff too, right? It's like 50, 60 years ago, someone like Charlie Kirk would have just been someone debating people, and that would be perfectly normal. Where now we don't talk about shit. It's kind of hilarious how everyone, these days is all about mental health and, taking care of each other in the world and everything. Yet we have these huge divides in just being, natural humans and being able to have a conversation. I think that one of the biggest things, that we have is our ability to communicate, and we just don't do that anymore, even though we're technically as connected to anybody else in the world as like we're the most connected we've ever been in our lives. Yet even though we can be connected to anyone in the world right now, we're actually the farthest from, you know having a connection with most people. You either
same.
basically are on one side or the other side, you know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, it's kind of a scary thing, it's like conversations kind of, start everything, right? So it's the fact that we don't have conversations, or at least we don't have real conversations anymore. It's even just like the news. It's interesting, to see the generate like the news is something I find interesting because you can literally see the generational gaps like right now. Like as a 20 to 30-year-old person, you probably don't watch the news. Yet you go to your grandparents' house and the news is on 24/7 and they believe everything they hear on it. Where anybody in our generation is like, the news is telling you lies, And so it's like, even that in like 20, 30 years, how has that gone from being like the standard to now they are the bad guys, where it's like, what happened there? Who knows, you know? But I think at the end of the day, it comes down to people kind of, not realizing, what was really going on. And they were able to kind of, hide behind their, suits and so forth. But nowadays it's like agendas and funding and, oh, is this news station being funded by the right or the left? And generally you can see who supports them via, like it was funny. My mom was just saying the other day here, because we've got plenty of politics and fun stuff going on in Canada right now. But it was what's his face? Carney was supposed to come back and then do the budget or whatever, and he still hasn't done it. And my mom was like, "Oh, CBC just put out an article about Carney and his budget and stuff." And I was kind of like, "Yeah, well, they're probably just doing that for appearance sakes because it's what everyone want to hear about." I was like, but they're also being funded by the government. So it's like, how hard are they really going to go on Carney? Probably not. They're just going to say just enough to get by and say, well, we're talking about it. But they're not going to, they're not going to do a smear campaign on their main funder. So it's just like,
And
again, it's like,
cigarettes in Germany have cigars
yeah,
even they have on top of it like the anti-smoking campaigns are supposed to be financed
yeah.
by the same company. I'm always thinking it's like how motivated are you really to keep people from buying your
Yeah,
own
well, I
product?
mean, one of the movies that I was in, right? Thank You for Smoking. That's basically the whole thing. That's what it's about, right? Is it's like, my dad's a lobbyist for the tobacco company, and they talk about that too, where it's like it's hilarious because as you just said, like the smoking companies are the ones that are paying for the anti-smoking ads because they had like legally have to, but then everyone still smokes cigarettes. It's just like I love the one movie that was interesting is Rock and Rolla, it's called. It's a Guy
I know that
Ritchie
movie.
movie. I love the one scene when Johnny Quid in it or whatever, he's at the bar with his buddy and he's playing the piano and he basically just breaks down a pack of cigarettes and what's on them and how it relates to basically like perfect human nature. It's like, oh, look at this. So it has a golden sigil and a crown, basically saying that these cigarettes, oh, they're your royal friend, like they're here when you need them whenever. Yet on the package right underneath that nice golden sigil, it has smoking kills. So it's just reminding you that what you're doing is actually going to be the end of you, even though you want it, and just like the way that that scene is written is just so amazing because it's the truth, it's just like we do super crazy things in this world as human beings, knowing full well that they're not good or they won't be good for us or anything. Okay, dog.